Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Barbara Swift, this is my little dog Coco, and you're watching BSwiftArt. Today we're going to talk about getting started. How to get started in a painting. Sometimes you don't even have the idea yet, and where do you get your ideas from? Well, I'll tell you what I do is I usually just go for a walk. Simple as that. Just go outside. I live in Florida, so it's kind of easy to find something that's interesting to paint. But I'll go for a walk, I'll take my camera with me, and I'll just start taking pictures of things. Take pictures of things from far away, things close up. Usually I'll find some birds, a heron, or something really cool on my walk that's unexpected, and now I got my juices flowing. Now I know where I'm going to go. Now I'm going to paint a bird. Recently we went on a trip to Key West, and I went to Hemingway's house. That's a really beautiful place to be. He's got all kinds of cats and beautiful tropical plants. And I saw, in particular, one that I loved was a big banana tree. It had a great big purple blossom on it and little tiny bananas growing, big huge jungle leaves. It was very tropical feeling. So I decided that's what I want to paint. So I took all kinds of pictures. And then when I was out and about in town, I saw some birds of paradise. Those leaves reminded me of the banana tree leaves. So I took pictures of those just to see the shadows, the texture. The leaves kind of split and they fray. So I wanted to take pictures of those so I had that in my memory or also on a photograph so that I could draw it later on. Another place I like to look for ideas is on Pinterest or other social media websites or websites of different artists. I like to see how another artist approached the subject. So for banana tree, I'll go on Pinterest, I'll type in banana tree, and all kinds of paintings come up, all kinds of photographs come up. You have to be careful. You don't want to steal another artist's artwork or a photographer's artwork who's also an artist. You want to be able to maybe get inspired by those things. So I like to see what colors they used. What settings did they put the subject in? Is it going to be loose? Is it going to be all kinds of details? So as I'm going through, I kind of get a feel for what I want to do. I also like to go to websites like Pixabay. Pixabay is a website that has thousands of photographs on it from photographers and clip art, and other artists sometimes put things on there. And for the most part, it's royalty free. You're allowed to use it. You're not going to get in trouble for using it. So if you can't think of ideas to compile and you just want to take a picture and do it exactly like the picture is, most of the time you can find something on Pixabay. So just be sure, read all the licensing details, make sure it's royalty free, make sure you have the permission to use it. Some of the images on there you pay for, some of them are free. So it's a really good place, a really good source to get ideas. So between taking pictures on my own, looking at Pinterest or other artists' websites, looking at Pixabay, or there's another one called Unsplash. I think there's a whole bunch of them out there. You know, usually you can get a whole bunch of ideas in your head. So now what do you do with all these ideas? You've got like 20 different images you're thinking about. You know, is it going to be loose, free, splash? Am I going to do a lot of details in it and make it really tight? How do I want to go about it? Well, now you just get your pencil out, get your paper out, and start sketching. Usually I take the pictures and spread them all out, and I'm going to take a little bit from everything that I've compiled. So I might like the colors from this picture, I might like the flower from this picture, I might like the leaves from this picture, I might like the background on another picture that's loose and splashy, or I might like a really dark, solid background where the subject's really going to pop out. So I start sketching, start getting all those ideas together. It's almost like putting a collage together. And then your juices are going. You're ready to paint. It's very exciting. Get your colors out of your paint swatches and just start going. So today I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to show you my pictures that I took of the banana tree. and I'm going to show you how I drew it on my paper, drawing a grid over it. So the paper is only 9 by 12 inches, and I want to paint it on a big piece of watercolor paper, 18 by 30. So I have to transfer that smaller painting onto the big watercolor paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay, let's get started on the fun stuff. In this picture, I'm going to be painting a banana tree. Here's the banana flower, and then here's the bananas, some beautiful big jungle leaves. And what I particularly liked about this picture is how the bananas are starting to form on top of the flower. So what happens is as these petals of the flower come off, they reveal these bananas, and they're layers and layers and layers inside of this bud. So that's what they end up like there. So this has like way too many bananas for me. I'll go insane drawing all those bananas. But I got this picture off of Pixabay, and this one says that it is royalty free. So I also got this picture here, and I really like the bananas in this one. It shows me exactly how I'm going to approach it as I paint it. You can see there's really great highlights and shadows in here. It's even showing the little dead blossoms on the ends of the bananas. So this one's going to come in handy as I get into some of the details. Also from Pixabay. And here is the actual blossom close-up of those little bananas just starting under the petals. And I really loved how this kind of crepey texture shows in this picture. And I think that this is going to be my color inspiration for my painting also. Here's some photos that I took myself. These are actually not banana leaves, but they're bird of paradise. But it does show me the textures in the leaves here are really similar to the banana. The way that the leaves split and fray, I really like that. The stalks are nice and sturdy. Here's another picture of those frayed leaves and how they're split. I think maybe the banana tree is a little bit smoother, so I'll do a little research on that. And then I have another one. I just took these pictures in the parking lot at the mall, so you didn't have to travel far for them. And so here's, great textures, great shapes, all kinds of ideas of how I can put my leaves on my picture. Okay, all right. So when I took all of these pictures into consideration, and I also did a lot of research on how other artists approached their paintings of the banana trees. There's lots of them out there. And also in composition, what did I want my composition to look like? So this is what I came up with. I have to excuse, I already drew a little grid on top of there. But here is my banana blossom. Here's the little bananas there. Here's some of these big leaves overshadowing those little banana beginners. And here's the bananas themselves. So I did less bananas. I did like 3. I included one of these shaggy leaves right here. It's a little bit hard to see just in a drawing, but as the painting emerges, it'll be more definite details. But what I wanted to do is kind of to create a composition that had interests for your eye to follow. So I kind of went with an X. So these banana trees, not directly from the corner, but in from the corner. This whole bunch of bananas and the blossom kind of swoop over into off-center, not quite in the center of the painting. And then I have on the opposite direction some of the branches coming over this way. So I have an X forming, see? And then I have my banana leaves here, and this banana leaf is almost completely underneath this flower, which is going to bring that flower out. And I got a second banana leaf here. So I'm going to attempt to draw this picture, which is only 9 inches by 12 inches, onto a much larger piece of watercolor paper that is 18 inches by 30 inches. So let me show you how I do that. You can't trace it because it's not the same size. I didn't draw it that big in the first place because I felt it'd be harder to do it that way. So what I did is I drew it out and I drew a grid right over the top of my drawing. So I have 9 squares, relatively equal sizes. And what I'm going to do now is repeat this same grid onto my watercolor paper. So I've done that over here. I'll show you that. It might be a little hard to see because I'd have to put the camera on the ceiling to see the entire thing. But if you can see, I have that grid drawn in there. And then what I did is in each square, I repeated what I have in these squares. So in the center square here, here's the center square on my paper, and I drew the same part of the leaf and the bananas in that same square. Don't worry about all the other squares. Just draw one square in at a time. And then I went to the upper portion, and in this upper square I drew the same that's in this upper square right in the center. So I got more bananas and some of the stalks from the leaves. So that's what I drew in there. And then going over to the left side, I drew the leaves on this one here, and then drew what was in the square below it onto the paper. So I'm only counting on one section at a time. So I'm drawing just this square, connecting it as I go along with the other squares that I've already drawn. But that's an easy way to transfer it all over. You might have to have a little bit of drawing skills to do that, but as you do it more and more, the easier it becomes to do something like this. Another way you could transfer it over is using a projector. I remember when I was in grade school, they had a big overhead projector that you could set something in and then blow it up onto the wall. So my father actually has one of those projectors. So that's one way that you could use it. Or you can just wing it and just try to draw it all on your own without using the grid. I like to use the grid because it keeps it in proportion. And the lines are easily erased. I have an eraser here, and after I'm done drawing it, I will just come on through and erase all of those unwanted lines. See? And it's very easy to erase on the watercolor paper if you got 100% cotton. I like to use the 300 weight, but 140 weight is fine also. Let's see, I can just erase all of those out, and then I'm ready to paint my picture. And I have this nice little brush that my dad gave me for drafting, and then just get all those eraser shavings off of there without having to wipe it with my hands constantly, which can transfer oils and mess up the way that your watercolor lies on your paper. But there you go. So in another video, I'm going to show you how to paint it. So we're going to paint the flowers and the bananas and then the jungle leaves, and let you see how it all turned out. But I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if you would, please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos, and give it a thumbs up. And until now, peace, love, be creative, be inspired, BSwiftArt.com. Bye-bye.